Westside wasabi chicken and cheese everybody. Yes, it is your boy R.I.P. Retroid here, and today I've got for you another story time. Now I know you guys didn't expect it, but here's the deal. It's every Wednesday at any time. I don't know. It's usually gonna be the last thing I upload though. But anyway, it's every Wednesday, so you guys best to expect the goody goodness that is this story. So I hope you really, but seriously though, I hope you guys enjoy it. I'll talk to you guys at the very end, and if you want to give me any good feedback or criticism or whatever, go ahead and do that in the comments after the video's over. Because hey, you don't want to get beat across the head with a Cali stick. Okay. Anyway, so like I said, I'll see you guys at the end of the video, and enjoy the story. Chapter 3. Gerald, what's new? I asked in a light manner, knowing full well he'd been snooping recently. Well, if it isn't my mysterious friend, I got something big this time. Gerald squinted at me in the inky darkness of the alley. Why do you always insist on meeting at night? He asks, waiting for a response. 'Cause it's how I work best. I answer plainly, signaling that he dropped the small talk. Where's the place and how much is your cut? Gerald gives a little laugh. When did you get so blunt? Or has it always been that way? I move slightly out of the dark, exposing one of my Cali sticks in an intimidation attempt. I don't have time for jokes, Gerald. Get to the point. Gerald put up his hands in a mock surrender. Alright, it's a big place, and a couple miles away from the last place you hit, so be prepared for some beefed up security. I sighed. The security will be nothing new. These guys may be rich, but they don't invest their money in the right security. Gerald stroked his stubble and agreed. Yeah, you'd think they'd do some research. He paused, looked down, then told me the address with a hint of regret, which I shook off for some reason. As I climbed to the rooftops, I thought about how Gerald looked to me. Yeah, he looked almost identical to a 1950s detective. Everything was in order, all except for a cigarette hanging from his mouth every 5 minutes. You cut out this little bit. Remember, 21. Gerald was the kind of guy who despised smoking. He once told me a story of how his dad died of cancer from smoking a pack of cigarettes virtually every night. He then told me that even 10 years after his father's death, he was still in debt, at least 10 grand, and that was why he was working in alleyways with people like me, so that one day he could catch his break and support himself and his mom, who kicked him out when she found blood on his coat one night and a body showing up the next day on the news. Gerald never resented her for it, and he sent her 75% of what he made from time to time. Now that I think back to that conversation, I wonder why it shocked me so much when he betrayed me. After a quick 45-minute trip to the manor, I took a look at it in surprise. Gerald wasn't kidding when he said security had been beefed up severely, with guards patrolling almost every corner of the property. You know what? That's fine. Just means I'll need to be on my guard more. I sigh and sneak over to a nearby hedge to analyze a plan. On the perimeter, there were 3 guys, all carrying small pistols and batons. The front of the house was of a simple design. A big double-door entrance with a small one-person balcony right above it. It was similar to that of a Romeo and Juliet sort of thing, with vines curling around it and what looked like a white stone material being what it was built out of. It was a 3-story building with the balcony being on the 2nd floor, making me believe that the 3rd floor was either an attic or where they kept the valuables. But no matter what it was a possible entry point. I looked at the front once more, at the windows that were in rows along all 3 floors. Some had guards walking past, while some had lights off and blinds lowered. I glanced towards the sides of the building and noticed that the right side of the building had a staircase, probably leading to a basement that was seemingly unguarded and a perfect place of entry. While it may have been unguarded, I knew that it would require me to guess a key code or something that would require time that I didn't have. I quickly snuck through the large hedges until I passed the enormous driveway. I peered around the edge of the hedge and scampered to the left side of the house. I ran to the back of the house and glanced around, conveniently finding what looked like a power grid. I looked around once more, seeing a few bushes to hide in, as well as a big round window to the attic right in the center. I snuck right to the power grid and unlocked the lock on it. When I opened it, I saw 5 rows of switches, each row containing 5 switches, with an additional switch labeled alarm on it. Geez, 25 rooms? A bit much, don't you think? I muttered to myself. I quickly prepared myself to flick all the switches when I heard the heavy footfalls coming around the left side of the house. I jumped into action, shutting the panel and running to a nearby bush, hoping that the guard wouldn't notice the lock that I had accidentally left lying on the ground. He patrolled past the hastily closed panel whilst mumbling about groceries. I waited until I could no longer hear footsteps, then crept back to the panel, resumed my action, and quickly flicked all of the switches off. In a matter of seconds, I could hear voices and commotion coming from both residents and guards. Not long after, I could hear the thudding of feet against the dirt as the guards ran to the back. I closed the panel and picked up the lock, snapping it closed on the handle of the panel just like it was before. Then I knelt down and rummaged through my bag for the grappling hook I had kept in there. My grappling hook functions similar to Batman's in the Arkham games. Pretty simple explanation. I stood ready for the slight wrench that I would feel from the pull of the grapple as the footsteps got right around the corner. Before the grappling hook shot me up towards the unopened windowsill, I had a slight heart flutter at seeing 1 foot of a guard. Luckily, I felt my feet leave the ground and I rocketed up the 3 stories as the guard turned the corner. "Alright, search the area while I check the electricity. Maybe the thing's short-circuited," one guard yelled out to the others, letting me know that I was still hidden. I stored my grappling hook away and pulled out a tiny crowbar and wrenched the window free of the locks. I removed the crowbar and slowly opened up the window, slipping through. I closed off the window again and prepared myself for the heist. Chapter 4. I turned 180 degrees and looked around, observing the attic. It was large, spanning the full length and width of the house. It was packed full of ancient artifacts and priceless paintings. I looked right over those, knowing that there was no way to snatch them at all, with my lack of space, of course. I was after jewels and money, maybe some of the smaller artifacts. The attic was pitch black, all except for the spaces that were illuminated by the moon. I started walking down one of the aisles, admiring all the treasures of civilizations long past. They were all in open display cases, begging me to take them. Some were covered in tiny blankets that I lifted as I walked past. I came to a halt as something caught my eye. A solid gold statue of a tiny man with 2 garnets for eyes and emeralds for fingernails. I reached into its case and grabbed it. As I pulled it out, I flipped it over, reading what looked like an ancient inscription. It was written in some ancient tongue, though I didn't know what I expected from it. I looked back at its display case and noticed a slip of paper, which I reached in and grabbed with one hand, flipping it over to reveal the words, "I'm sorry, G." I furrowed my brows and thought, why would there be a note saying sorry? Something's not right. I placed the little statue back on its pedestal, but not before wrenching out the garnets that served as the eyes. I shook my head and pocketed the note. By the time I made it to the staircase leading to the 2nd story, I had taken 4 or 5 pieces of ancient jewelry, taking stuff that, wouldn't be noticeable. I peeked out the door at the bottom of the staircase and saw everything was clear, and went for the rooms. Right as I started for the first room, all the lights flashed on, blinding me temporarily. During my time of temporary blindness, I heard boots running up the stairs to the 2nd floor. I ran for a room and jiggled the doorknob, and got no response from the locked door. I quickly moved on to the next one, finding it locked as well. Starting to panic, I tested the next door to no avail. It was locked as well. I didn't have nearly enough time to pick the lock of the door because I could hear the running reach the top of the stairs. I quickly scanned the hallway and spotted a window rather close to me. I unlocked the latches and opened it up, just enough for me to jump. I finished as the footsteps reached the top of the stairs. "Freeze! Turn around with your hands up!" I flip around to see 3 cops and a few guards in the hallway, guns drawn. My final pair of feet finally emerged from the stairs. "Stand down. We need him alive to figure out where he stores his ill-gotten gains," Gerald says, looking me dead in the eyes. His outfit was the same as it was earlier, all except for a gun and badge hanging from his neck. "So you were a cop this whole time. So everything was a lie." He slowly sauntered over to me. "Of course. Don't think our friendship was nothing, though. But you know, as well as I do, that you need to be brought in." He walked up right next to me and whispered, "I gave you so many warnings, but you ignored them all. Remember, you brought this on yourself." He finished and yanked off my hood and mask, exposing me to the presence of the guards and cops. I took advantage of their shot to knee Gerald in the stomach and pull out one of my Cali sticks. I struck him once more on the head, effectively knocking him out. Before everyone could start shooting, I jumped out the window and landed in a large bush, which broke my fall. Even without the bush, I could feel my shoulder slide out of place. I stifled a scream and hopped off the bush, running towards the road near the house. Not long after taking off, I could hear bullets whizzing past and landing into the grass next to me. When I reached the road, I immediately ran over to the left to uncover my motorcycle that was buried under foliage. I hopped on and retrieved my keys from the bag and started it up. I took off under the hail of gunfire. I could hear one ping off of something on the bike. I didn't have time to worry about it, though, since getting away was my top priority. Steering with one arm was hard enough, but steering through a police barricade was nearly impossible. By a stroke of luck, I swerved past and accelerated away, getting out as fast as possible. After 10 minutes of driving, I pulled into a parking lot to assess the damage. I attempted to pop my shoulder into place, succeeding, but with insane amounts of pain. Then I looked at my bike. There was an obvious problem. My gas tank had a bullet hole in it. I looked around and saw a huge line of gasoline leading from the road towards the bike. Not long after I heard sirens approaching, I knew what I had to do. I grabbed my bag and reached for a lighter. I flicked open the lighter and dropped it into the growing puddle of gasoline as I ran down the street. I never looked back. Alright, well, I hope you guys enjoyed that little tidbit, or 2 chapters of it. If you guys want me to do more chapters every time, go ahead and leave that in the comment, comment to me if I'll do more chapters as time goes on. But, like I said, it's really underdeveloped right now. I mean, as it is, I barely pushed 4 chapters. It was kind of difficult, I'm not gonna lie. Stories are not easy to come up with, especially when you're kind of out of ideas for a little bit. But don't worry, I finished that one off pretty well. And like I said, I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys did enjoy. And, if you did, you might as well like and subscribe. Because if you don't, well, I'll just get Geralt over here to lock you up over nothing. Except it wasn't nothing. I mean, technically the guy or girl, you still haven't decided. I don't know. If no one comments for the next 2 episodes, I'm just going to do it myself. Well, this character is considered a criminal, so I guess it's kind of fair. But whatever, man. I'll see you guys next time. And I hope you guys have a good one. Alright.
For work in the field, y'all niggas ain't real. Matches on fire, cause we been working the field. Got a bitch calling me daddy, you know the deal. We whipping and flipping, my niggas ain't holding still. Oh, that's real, oh, that's real. Oh, that's real, put work in the field, put work in the field. Oh, that's real, oh, that's real. Oh, that's real, put work in the field, put work in the field.